The question, for example, with regard to Swift is that what kind of an organization is the Swift, right? Mother, what is the nature of its organizational structure? What kind of an organization is Swift, right? Now, for example, one option can be it's a corporation, like a company. Second, it can be, let's say, for example, an intergovernmental organization, like a, you know, multilateral organization, like the SCO or the NATO. Okay. Third can be, it can be a non-profit organization. And the fourth option can be, it is a cooperative sahakari organization. Can you give me a sense of what is the correct option in these one A, B, C, D? If a question is come, what is the nature of the organization? You understand the, let's say, for example, very simply, the functions of how the Swift operates, right? The idea of a Swift is that it is a messaging system, but I want to understand what is the nature of Swift. Matlab, how do countries control who becomes a member of the Swift or who is expelled from being the member of the Swift? That's the question that I'm trying to ask. So can you give me a sense of how to pick an option out of these four, please? What do you think is the correct answer? A, B, C, and D? What is the correct answer out of these? This is a very simple prelims question that can come because of the relevance of Swift. Class, are you there? Are you listening? A, B, C, D, इसमें से सही उत्तर क्या लगता है आपको? What kind of an organization is the Swift? Please tell me. The correct answer is neither A nor B nor C. The correct answer is D, cooperative. Swift, SWIFT, is a registered cooperative. A cooperative, for example, how you have cooperatives in India. For example, Amul is a dairy cooperative. It is a cooperative, right? Now, take a look at this. If you go to the website of the Swift, and if you take a look at the, what you can call the organizational structure of Swift, take a look at this. Swift is a cooperative society under the Belgian law, right? This is the simple understanding of what the Swift is. So first of all, let's say very simply, you understand how the Swift is governed. What is the function of a SWIFT? The function of the Swift is, it's a messaging service which is used by international bank to authenticate the source to which the money is being routed. It is a messaging service, very simply speaking. Okay. Next question is, what is a, let's say, organizational structure of the Swift? And to answer that question, Swift is a cooperative society. It is not a corporation. It is not even an intergovernmental organization. It is not a what you can call a kind of a non-profit organization. It is a cooperative society, just like we have cooperative societies in India, which is owned and controlled by the Belgian laws, right? That's basically what the organizational structure of SWIFT is. Now, if you take a look at, a little bit of an understanding of how the SWIFT is governed, let us take a little bit of a reading about it. Take a look at this. While SWIFT is neither a payment nor a settlement system and is therefore not regulated as such by central banks or bank supervisions, it is subject to central bank oversight as a critical service provider. A large and growing number of systematically important players, payment systems have become dependent upon SWIFT, which has thereby acquired a systematic character. As a result, the central bank of G10 countries agreed that SWIFT should be subject to cooperative oversight by the central bank. SWIFT has been subject to oversight since 1998. So, let's say, for example, if a question is asked that what are the, let's say, for example, ways in which the SWIFT is organized. SWIFT number one is a cooperative, which is organized under the Belgian law. SWIFT is a cooperative which is organized under the Belgian law. Okay, that's the first thing. And also, in addition to that, what we understand is that SWIFT is managed, or oversight body of the SWIFT is what are known as the G10 countries central banks. So, for example, if USA, Canada, Spain, Italy, all these American and European central banks, the G10 countries, their central banks, they provide what is known as the oversight forum for the SWIFT. Right. So again, SWIFT is a cooperative registered under the Belgian law, and it is a G10 countries whose central banks provide the oversight for SWIFT. Right. And the members of SWIFT, for example, how a cooperative works. A cooperative is kind of a what you can say, a cooperative is a body which is created like a corporation, but it has a slightly different structure than a corporation. So the members or the shareholders of the cooperatives are international financial institutions, right? So it is the international banks which are the shareholders of the cooperatives, cooperative of the SWIFT. Clear? So just get a sense of what we are in a way understanding over here in terms of the organizational structure of the SWIFT. Let me pull out a little bit of a friendly article from the Hindu to get you a sense of it. The newspaper was full of these articles. Exclusion from SWIFT, what does it entail for the Russians, right? Now take a look at this. SWIFT is a messaging network used by banks and financial institutions globally for quick and faultless exchange of information pertaining to financial transactions. The Belgium, please note, headquartered SWIFT connects more than 11,000 banking and securities organizations in over 200 countries and territories. Each participant on the platform is assigned a unique 8-digit SWIFT code or banking identification code. If a person, say in New York with a Citibank account, wants to send money to someone with an HSBC account in London, the payee would have to submit to his bank the London-based beneficiary's account number along with the 8-digit SWIFT code of the latter's bank. Citi would then send a SWIFT message to the HSBC. Once that message is received and approved, the money would be credited to the required account. Just take a look at this very simply to understand the functioning of the SWIFT, and you can take a look at the nature of what is known as the BIC and the bank identification code. So these are certain terms that I'm highlighting as important for the prelims examination. All of these have been events in the news recently, and therefore they can become a corpus for your question answers in the prelims examination. So just please pay a little bit of a focus upon this part, the paragraphs which I'm highlighting over here. Okay, I want you to take a focus upon some of these items because BIC etc. can become a part of your prelims questions. Okay, again take a look at this. Swift is merely a platform that sends messages and does not hold any securities or money. It provides standardized and reliable communication to facilitate the transaction. Are we clear about it? Swift is merely a platform that sends messages and does not hold any securities or money. It provides standardized and reliable communication to facilitate the transaction. Okay, next, if you take a look at the paragraph here, what happens if one is excluded from Swift? If a country is excluded from the most participatory financial facilitating platform, its foreign funding would take a hit, making it entirely reliant upon domestic investors. This is particularly troublesome when institutional investors are constantly seeking new markets and newer territories. An alternative system would be cumbersome to build and even with more difficult to integrate with an already expansive system. Swift, first used in 1973, went live in 1977 with 518 banks from 22 countries. Its website states Swift itself had replaced the much slower and less dynamic system called Telex. So Telex was the what you can call the predecessor of Swift, and the date of the first usage of Swift is 1973, and it went live in 1977. So these are just points. I hope that you're taking scrolling somewhere in your notebooks to get a sense with regard to the current updates upon the prelims part. Class, I hope you're taking some amount of notes on these figures. Okay, next part, take a look at this. Are there any countries excluded from the SWIFT? Certain Iranian banks were ousted from the system in 2018 despite resistance from the several countries in Europe. This step, while regrettable, was taken in the interest of the stability and integrity of the wider global financial system and based on an assessment of the economic situation. SWIFT states on its website. So, Iran already is one of the countries which has been ousted from this system. How is the organization governed? SWIFT claims to be neutral. Its shareholders consisting of 3,500 firms, which means banks across the globe. So, you have 3,500 banks who are shareholders of the cooperative, which elect a 25-member board, right? So you have a board of the cooperative. As you can see, Swift works as a cooperative, which is responsible for oversight and management of the company. It is regulated by the G10 central banks. This we have already seen, which include Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, UK, USA, Switzerland, and Sweden. Also, the European Central Bank. Its lead overseer bank is the National Bank of Belgium. I hope that you are able to take a set of notes upon this paragraph very clearly. You may, in fact, really see a question like this in the prelims paper this time. So, I hope you're taking a note of this, class. Class, are we taking a note of this, please? Swift claims to be neutral. Its shareholders, consisting of 3,500 firms across the globe, elect a 25-member board, which is responsible for oversight and management of the company. It is regulated by G10 central banks of Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Netherlands, UK, US, Switzerland, and Sweden, alongside the European Central Bank. Its lead overseer bank is the National Bank of Belgium. Okay, so this is a very simple question as to how the organizational structure is governed. What is not mentioned over here, which I have mentioned separately, is that Swift is registered as a cooperative society. I want you to take a look at all of these points very clearly because you're going to see something like this. It is a proper recipe for a current update on international relations. Are we clear about this class? Okay, so we are looking at the ouster of the Russian banks from both the use of dollars and also SWIFT. So this is what we are taking a look at.